Here we are, Sargent Studios, inside the Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Bryan Weatherford. As always, we like to do member spotlights, and today we have a member who we'll be talking to that's in a rather unique industry, and it's the type of industry that I love because all of us need what this guy can do. The name of the company is Digital Corporate Companies. Mr. Ken Mattner, my guest. Ken, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you being here. First time in here, what do you think?
That's awesome.
It's a very awesome room. So before I get started to where you are today, we're going to get to it with all the printing and all the stuff you do. Is that your professional background? Is that the only thing you've ever done in your life, or were you somewhere else at one point?
Well, I was a retailer many years ago, and in lieu of college, ended up getting a great opportunity with a full-line retail store and worked many hours every day, and I became the personnel manager of the store. I had about 300 people. And a year later, I had the opportunity as operations manager, had everything from security to delivery to the maintenance of the stores, right down to, then I was merchandise manager. That was before computers. I had 6 girls counting a whole store. You can imagine counting a Macy's or the old Foley's.
Sure.
And so that gave me a lot of experience, worked a lot of hours. I call it school of hard knocks. While all my friends were in college, I was working. And the store stayed open until 9 every night, so it was no big deal for me to work. So that experience got me an opportunity with a retailer down in Texas, came up and invited us down, and I got married June of 1980, and in November of 1980, we ended up in a little town of Hobbs, New Mexico, where I did my training for White's Auto Stores, and spent about a year there, and then I had the opportunity to come to Fort Worth. And so overall, I spent about 15 years in retail. Had a unique opportunity to get into the printing business, doing work for advertising agencies. Ironically, I did work for Henry Luzick's agency many years back.
Wow.
And
Henry, of course, was here with the Chamber for
yes, sir. Yeah, Henry, he was back in the days and did work with Tracy Locke and Bozell and Jacobs, Levinson and Hill. And so I cut my teeth in a pretty tough area of printing, because the quality levels had to be perfect. But I learned from a really good guy who had a small print shop in Dallas, and when I got out of retail, I went to work with him, got a chance to work with a lot of the agencies. The Dallas Market Center, when it was the 3rd largest market in the U.S., did a lot of work for the Market Center, a lot of printing back then primarily. And that's kind of how I learned the printing aspect of it. And over the course of time, some of my customers were asking for promotional goods, and I swore I'd never get into trinkets and trash, as they call it.
Right.
And I was in a meeting, and they asked if I can do an online store. This was almost 20 years ago now.
Oh,
And it was one of those meetings. You go, sure, I can. You walk out, and how am I going to do this? And we did our research, and we set up with a company out of Minneapolis many years ago, and we started our first online store for Turbomeca, the helicopter engine company.
Oh, okay.
Here in Grand Prairie, and it ran that for almost 20 years.
Wow.
So that got us into private portals and stores and that kind of thing. And in my printing experience, I was really fortunate because doing agency work, I got a chance to do a lot of very high-profile work. We handled Godiva Chocolatier, their press kits, for almost 15 years. Nobody could print that gold, including us. So I got approval to buy their gold paper from a mill up in Massachusetts, and we laminated it together and did the emboss of the horse, lady on the horse, and did that for many years. We worked with Johnson & Johnson, Hearts Mountain, Pepsi. So that was a good foundation teaching me the printing industry.
Is it fair to say, as you sit here today, Digital Core, you can pretty much print anything on anything? Doesn't matter if it's apparel or a mug. You did these mugs here.
Now we can, yeah. It's amazing how it's morphed over the years. The technology's gotten so good.
Right.
For somebody who wanted to run a printing press many years ago, it took an apprenticeship program, 4 years solid, just to learn. Now I can have somebody working on one of our digital presses in a day.
Well, have you found, you mentioned you're reluctant. I think that's a small statement. You're reluctant to get into the promotional products business. Mm-hmm. But have you found, as a business owner yourself, the customers really like that because it's all about network marketing. You to build that relationship with the customer. And when they're coming to you for printing,
Yeah.
and when they find out that you can do this too, I would have to think their eyes light up because they don't have to go reinvent the wheel.
It is. And, a wise man once told me, if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, have multiple income streams. And that was just a natural, because the buyers who bought printing also bought promo goods. And we acted as a really good liaison between the purchasing departments of corporations and the marketing departments and advertising departments. Traditionally, they don't get along very well.
Okay.
So the marketing, advertising department, their levels of quality is so high, they don't think printing can attain it. But for us, it worked out nice, especially with the larger corporations, is we were able to get the numbers that the purchasing departments wanted, and we were able to get the quality that the marketing and advertising departments. So it really developed nice relationships.
Also able to keep everything on brand. The font's the same, the color's the same, the PMS, whatever. Everything's the same, and then everybody wins.
Branding standards doesn't seem as important today, although we look at it as we did many, many years ago.
Sure.
And branding book could be 60 pages for a larger corporation. And so you've got to go by that. The type of font, as you say, the kerning in the fonts. We did work many years ago for, it was Bank One back in the day. Today it's Chase. They had their own special font made, so not anybody could print their work. And we were real fortunate. We did work for their printing department on Jackson Street in Dallas and got invited up into statewide marketing. So we were able to do quite a bit of work for them. They're statement stuffers. Quick, funny little story. They were getting their ATM stolen.
And is their ATM stolen?
Their ATM stolen.
Okay.
And so they called us, and we had to do 150 signs and labels and something else. And literally FedEx came in pulling out big bags. It had to be done within like 36 hours. We pulled it off. We got it out to all the banks. And that's where we built our reputation, is getting it done, which I think is really important to this day.
Is it unique going from the printing side of things to like I have a little experience there myself, but it's unique in that a lot of companies have different formats of their logo. For example, they may have a full color and a one color, because too many times you run into somebody with this beautiful 8-color logo that you can pull it off through digital printing, and they want to put it on a golf ball.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way, does it?
Well, today it does.
Yeah.
Today it does. In fact, we just got a new piece of software that on our UV machines, we're going to be able to print golf balls in-house.
Wow.
And it'll be full color.
Okay.
And the thing that's changed tremendously anymore with color, it used to be one color or two colors, which was done on a press. Today, you might as well go 4-color because there's very little difference in price.
Sure.
Now, you can go black, which is a little less expensive, but 2, 3, 4, you might as well go 4. Because everything today is in that CMYK model when it comes to color.
Do you get into direct-to-garment printing?
Yeah.
Any of the machines that do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit, because it's really fascinating, and it's a relatively game changer in the industry.
You know, it is, and we've been in it for, goodness, 15 years.
Oh, that's early on.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize it was very expensive to do it, but it's basically they've taken an inkjet printer with special inks that will adhere to apparel, and it's most of them use the Epson model, and that's how most of the direct-to-garment machines are going. They've gotten bigger and bigger and better, and for full color, it's absolutely stunning. There's a new piece of equipment that we're looking at now. These heat transfers have gotten to a point, price-wise, and it's got the feel. The problem with transfers in the past, they felt like rubber.
Right.
And if you ever had a T-shirt like that, it's not good. There's a new technology we're looking at now. We're testing. In fact, we did it on this shirt right here.
Okay.
And, we can sell these heat transfers for a couple bucks. Wow. That is breakthrough price, because traditionally you'd pay $5, $10, $15, depending on the quantities you're going with. And this new equipment, basically the cost for a 12 by 12 print is less than $3.
How do you and your staff keep up to date with the latest changes in technology? I mean, Are you reading stuff? You going to webinars? Do you go to trade shows? How do you stay out there?
Reading a lot. There's a lot of trade magazines that are out there. The equipment shows are some of the biggest assets for us. That's when I learned about UV printing, and UV is the process that the ink dries instantly. So you want one pad, you got a big customer you're going to do a presentation to, you want to do a nice pad folio for them, a leather pad folio. Well, in the past, you couldn't print on that. I can do one, I can do 100 for you, and the color will be phenomenal. We had a client not too many years ago that we really wanted badly. It was a large school, and we pulled their logo down and cleaned it up. I don't recommend pulling the logo down from the web because, as you know, at 72 DPI, we need at least 300 plus. But we figured their logo out, and we went into the meeting with 3 mouse pads and gave it to them with their logo on it, some basic information. We walked out with 1,000 mouse pad order.
Goodness.
They bought it for all the parents in the school with the pertinent numbers to the administration and that kind of thing for the parents to have. So the promotional side is much more exciting. It's fun. It's much more challenging because there's so many items that are out there. As you probably know, if you go to our digital corporate gift site, it's attached to the ASI industry.
Oh, so you're pulling everything.
So there's 5 million items on it. It's almost overwhelming.
Yes.
So to go back to your question, we saw this equipment at shows. We've got 2 UV machines now, and they'll print it on glass. We're doing crystal awards now, which are just beautiful. We actually get a lot of our ideas from our customers.
Interesting.
I learn so much from our customers and what they want, and we don't like to say no. So many times we have to figure out how to do it.
Well, it goes all the way back to what you were telling us earlier. We just, hey, we want to do an online store. Yeah, then we got to figure that out. Now they come in, they say, we want to do this. Okay, and then they leave. All right, we got to get to work. Same deal, yes. But you pull it off.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
In a sense, yes. And what I have found, it's the computers that run the machines. And that's true with anything. And it's the software that runs the computers. So most of our machines, we try to run the same softwares. So they're called RIPs, which is raster imaging processing, which communicates from the computer to the machine. But by having the same RIPs on most of our machines, it's easier to teach because you can run the UV machine, you can run the 54-inch Mamaki.
Okay.
You could even start to run some of the digital presses because a lot of that technology is the same. If it's familiar, you're teaching them one operating system. A big thing that I've tried to do over the years is simplify processes. You find there's a 50-page book to run this machine, there's another 50-page book to run this, so on and so forth. So when we purchase equipment as an example, it needs to have the specific software that we're looking for. XMPy is a big database, variable data, variable image program as an example. You've probably gotten a birthday card there's a cake that says "Happy Birthday, Brian" from the insurance guy.
Yeah.
That's called variable image.
Okay.
They may do 1,000 names, and what it does, it actually changes the image on every single postcard or piece that it's going on. Very, very complex software that we've made it very easy to run. When we're doing postcards, a lot of times now we'll save clients money with postage because we will have the list processed through our mail house, but then we'll run the postcards with whatever font they want on it. So when we take it back, it's already ready to go to the post office. So all of that's already done, and that works within our system. So
a true one-stop shop.
We've gotten good at data. Data has been real big over the years. We've been very fortunate that we do a lot of mail. We're not thought of as mail in that regard, but last year alone, we probably did 7 or 8 million postcards. People don't think about us when they think of mail. But with that said, we do so many different things, as you were alluding to, that our thing is to get our story out. But you look at the back of our business card and it has 30 different things that we do. It's like, how can they do all that?
Yeah.
Well, we've simplified a lot of it, and with our commitment to color and branding, it's still the standard today, period.
Well, here's something else too. Your commitment to color and branding, totally understand it, but your commitment to the community is important too, and you do it in a way different than others. I mean, I know you on a personal level, and I know you do a lot of stuff that people don't know,
Right.
but you do it. You're kind of a silent supporter. You're out in front a lot of times,
Yeah.
but a lot of times you'll support groups and organizations and whatnot just because it's the right thing to do. Why is that so important to you?
Arlington is such a unique community. Of course, with that said, I think anywhere that you reside, it's important to get involved and be involved in your community.
Mm-hmm.
We're fortunate enough, we've been here now going on 42 years, that Arlington is our home. Since getting involved with the chamber, it's been far more exciting, and we're in a unique situation to where everybody needs our product to promote something.
Absolutely.
So I'm constantly buying in the background and getting very good values and deals on things that I keep. So it's really easy for me to do a special project for somebody. But we're not the bell ringers that say, we did this, we did this, we did this. We do it quietly in the background, and which it is good for us. And it's heart. It's really heartfelt.
You do it for the right reason.
We're honored. We're so blessed to be able to do the work that we do, to go out on whether it's social media or see things. It's fun because we can go, we did that. That's a pride. Most people don't know, but that's okay. That's
But you know.
who we are.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to give back, and we do give back.
All right, going to go to a little bit of a different direction here. You have one of those unique industries because we've talked about technology and software and hardware. A lot of people have that. And because of that, a lot of people go to the internet to get stuff. You have big competition with the internet.
Oh, yeah.
But what they don't have on the, well, tell me, how do you compete? I know the answer. How do you compete with the internet? Because there's somebody else with the same machines and the same software and everything. What's your leg up on them?
We'll answer the phone.
That's a big one. Yeah.
We are still old book. We have adapted to all the new that's going on and everything we've seen getting a little bit older in our lives and from that standpoint, but we continue to try to communicate. You know, the old days, you had to knock on the door. You had to call and get the appointment if you could get that. And of course, people would answer their phone in the past. If you got that, I mean, you make 20 calls to get one appointment. You go knock on the door, and if you get a chance to sit with them a half hour or so, you're fortunate. If it goes longer than that, you're probably walking away with work.
Right.
Because the personalities have hit, and they've seen and understand what we do. Today, it is much different. So many clients today, I'll text, are you available? Got a minute? Kind of thing before I even pick up the phone and call. And so we've had to adapt to that. Certainly, texting, as you know, has gotten so big. Email has gotten way too congested. We have put a new system in. We put the NetSuite system in, which is a very high-end operating system that it controls our CRM. And I keep saying this, I've said it for months, it will control our new website we're coming out with. So if somebody buys something online, the system will totally process it and tell us, okay, we need 144 of these mugs in 4 color, and here's the logo. So we're trying to adapt to the marketplace. You talk about some of these competitors that are on TV all the time. I get a lot of customers back from them. They may beat us. I mean, we are good buyers. We get very good volume pricing from the manufacturers. Over the years, I didn't want a ton of manufacturers because I wanted to do a lot more with fewer, giving us better buying power. And of course, over the years now, we have so many different vendors. And in our business, our vendors are our heroes.
Okay.
They make us look good.
All right.
I learned from a wise man one time. He goes, my vendors are more important than my customers. I thought that was really interesting. But as you think about it, if somebody wants, we did 250 blankets last week, and they had to have a logo a certain way with a certain thread. And I had to trust this vendor to get it right. So I ordered the blankets. I knew of the blanket that I wanted with a certain color and everything, and got it over to a specialty house that we've done business with for almost 20 years. I know she's going to make it perfect. And I know if she's not going to get it to me on time, I'll get a phone call days before. That's another thing in service today. We tell our clients a no to us is more important than a yes.
Absolutely.
Because if we can't make your deadline, I will do everything I can to tell you short of something happening, but I will tell you we can't do this, but we can do this. And sometimes we refer to other companies that might be able to do it faster. Because in the end, you're still taking care of your client. You may end up losing a client, but I think if they're good folks, I think they understand what we're truly trying to do.
Yeah, and they do appreciate that. And I want to back up on one thing. You talked about how vendors make you look good. You make your customers look good, because if somebody at the last minute says, oh, geez, I've got to get stuff for the trade show, I'm leaving 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
To them, you're the vendor, and as that vendor, you're making them look good. See the way it works?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you do that time after time after time.
Our job's to put a feather in your cap.
Yeah.
Because you probably answer to somebody else who answers to somebody else.
And they're going to remember that, yeah.
Hopefully.
Next time when I get more lead time, I don't have to shop around.
Yes, sir.
To you.
Yes, sir.
All right, last question about the chamber. We talked about your involvement in the chamber and whatnot. If people are watching today and they're thinking, Chamber of Commerce, that sounds kind of interesting, the Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce, maybe I should join, maybe I shouldn't. Do you have a quick one statement answer, the number one reason somebody that doesn't know anything about the chamber should come on board, give it a try?
I need a paragraph. I was not a fan of the chamber 11 or 12 years ago.
Okay.
Because it seemed like they were only interested in large businesses, because I wasn't a member prior to that.
Okay.
And I happened to be at a Chris Kendall event and saw our old Vice President, Henry Luzick, and heard me say, the chamber's only interested in big business. He was in my office the following Monday, and we joined. And I can tell anybody, and I do whenever I can, our chamber is the most dynamic group of people that are so people and business oriented. You will have more difficulty being successful in your business without the chamber. Without the chamber, it's going to be much more difficult. Nice. With the chamber, there are so many opportunities. There are so many groups. It's hard to measure our business, how much we do with the chamber, because so much comes from word of mouth.
Fair.
But I can say that the chamber has been a tremendous asset, and anybody in Arlington or anybody who wants to join the chamber who can get involved in so many of the opportunities that they offer, it behooves them. It becomes an important tool of your business.
Thank you for that. And I want to tie it together on a nice, neat little bow, because we're done today. But just like the Greater Arlington Chamber is here for businesses of all sizes, so it's Digital Core. You work with businesses of all sizes too.
Yes. Yep.
And you're there to make people look good. Well, thank you. You made yourself look good today. I learned a lot about you and your company. I appreciate you taking some time.
Thank you.
Folks, as always, thank you for being here too, because Ken knows it better than any of us. Together we succeed. Take care.